Okay, let's get into taxes on crypto. So crypto tax made simple. Obviously, the simplest tax is going to be a 0% tax, and that's the goal anyway. So I'm going to try and break this down for you to make it as easy to understand. But as I said before, tax is complicated. It differs from country to country. Every set of circumstances is different. For a lot of questions you have, the answer is likely going to be it depends on your situation. Oftentimes, the best solution is to get a custom plan put in place. However, that being said, I'm going to break down the fundamentals for you. And as I said before, none of this should be considered tax advice. I'm just trying to make tax knowledge more accessible. Okay, so for most people, tax is just something that they have to accept and deal with. They work a job and they live in the place that they grew up. They don't have any power to change how much tax they pay because they don't have the means to change their tax residency. Now, if you stand to make multiple six figures in crypto, then you have the means to change your situation and pay 0% on your crypto gains. So if you're running an online business as well, which I assume most of you are, as that's a lot of times how people are funding their crypto, then you could stand to eliminate your company and personal taxes too. Okay, so let's look at crypto investing. Depending on where you live, capital gains taxes are usually somewhere between 20 to 30%. And so if you're investing in crypto on a personal level, capital gains taxes is what's going to apply to you. Now, versus if you're trading, then capital gains taxes usually don't apply, and you usually then need to pay personal income tax rates instead. Now, these are generally higher. Most Western countries' personal tax rates are between 25 to 50%. Now, a word of caution on trading. Every time you buy and sell a position, it's considered a taxable event. And so you're not only taxed when you put money in and out of crypto, you're taxed every time you make a trade or anytime you make a swap. And this is really important. If you want to take advantage of countries like Portugal or Germany or any country that doesn't tax crypto on the basis that it categorizes your crypto activities as long-term investing, you can't be swapping your coins regularly. If you buy Bitcoin and then 6 months later you swap into USDC or ETH, then you're considered selling your position. If you then let's say you buy Bitcoin, swap into USDC, and then buy into ETH, and then hold for another 6 months, you might think that you're investing, but most of these countries will consider your activities as trading, not investing. And so you'll have higher tax rates and you'll lose any benefit of 0% tax in some of these countries. So for most of you, you're going to need to buy and hold for at least a year, but make sure you double check these countries' rules. Now, this is a graphic that Dan sent me. He saw it on Twitter, and it shows two examples of $1 doubling 20 times. The column on the left is what happens when you do 20 doubles without tax, and the column on the right is what happens if you do 20 doubles with a 25% tax. And so with the 25% tax, every time a double is achieved, there's a 25% tax applied, which reduces the gain. And you can see the results in the end. The tax, with the tax scenario, the gain is way lower. And this point, again, is to illustrate, first of all, the power of how tax can impact your gains. And the second is to illustrate why you want to hold as few positions for as long as possible. And whilst people who are trading might post X percentage gains, the reality can be different due to the tax. Now, this graphic is flawed and overly simplistic in a number of ways, because if you buy and hold long term, if you buy at $1 and you get a 20x, that's different from getting 20 doubles, as the original amount is still the same. And even if you are trading and you're getting taxed on that, you're probably still going to reinvest the full amount you make each time, versus taking 25% off yourself to save for the tax man. So let's say you invest $1 and it doubles, okay? You've now got $2 and you exit your position. You're not going to take 25 cents and save it for the tax man. You're going to reinvest the $2. And so if it doubles again, you're going to get $4, not $3.06. So it's flawed and overly simplistic, but the key takeaways here is to illustrate the power that tax can have over reducing your gains when you compound. The benefit of holding fewer positions for as long as possible, and that every time you sell or swap out of a position, it's considered a taxable event. Okay, let's quickly look at taxes on business. I know that many of you run online businesses as well, and so if you're looking to optimize your business taxes in addition to crypto, then consider that by relocating to save money on crypto that you could eliminate your corporate taxes as well. And most countries, or most Western countries, will tax somewhere between 25 to 50% with a combination of corporate and personal taxes. Now, 0% tax equals compromise. This is a really key thing to understand. Getting down to 0% tax isn't free and it doesn't come without compromise. 99% of time, you'll need to move country unless you're already living in a tax haven or somewhere that doesn't tax crypto. You usually, if you leave your home country, won't be able to spend more than 3 months there a year to avoid continuing to have tax residency there. You might need to travel between a few countries depending on your situation. For example, some people will set up in, say, Cyprus or Dubai. They'll get tax residency by spending 60 or 90 days there a year, and then they'll spend the rest of the year elsewhere. There's initial upfront investment. You know, if you want to get offshore entities set up, there's a cost for that. If you need a plan put in place, there's a cost for that. And a lot of people will just go do the done thing, get whatever the popular thing is, and they'll spend money setting up the wrong structure for them that they perhaps don't even need. There's a lot of people who I see that don't need entities in Dubai based on their situation, but they've gone and spent 10 to 20 grand to get those set up. And you're going to have to set up new bank accounts, potentially get visas, register for new crypto exchanges, and handle other admin. It's going to take some time. So if you want the benefit, you're going to have to put in the work. But let's look at how much you stand to make this bull run and how much you could potentially save. If you're looking at making 6 figures this bull run, 100K gain, you might be able to save yourself 20 to 30K in taxes. If you're looking at 500K gain, you might be looking at somewhere between 100 to 150K in taxes. Now, if you're going to hit 2.5 mil, 500 to 750K in taxes, and if you're going to hit 8 figures at 10 mil, you know, you might be looking at $2 to $3 million in taxes. And so my question to you is, what's your cutoff point? How much are you going to let your government tax you before you decide to do something about it? And for those of you that run a business as well, you could stand to make massive savings by relocating your business as well. So if you're currently making 10K a month profit, you might be able to save 30 to 60K in taxes each year. If you're making 100K profit a month, 300 to 600K taxes each year. And if you're making $1 million a month, maybe 3 to 6 million in taxes every year. Now you might say, it's crypto. How will the government know? They don't track, like, crypto's anonymous, right? Even if you keep all your profits in stable coins, like, the blockchain is literally a paper trail that can't be edited and can always be tracked. And if you've put money in from a bank account connected to your name, if you're taking money out and converting back to fiat, then that paper trail is connected to your bank account. And governments can access all of that history if you're investigated. They have relationships with Chainalysis, banks, crypto exchanges, where they can pull your history. And getting thrown in prison for tax evasion is no fun. So I recommend that you do things properly. Okay, so there's 2 key puzzle pieces for cashing out of crypto at the end of the bull run and paying no tax. Okay, the first is a tax residency with 0% tax on crypto. The second is having the correct on and off ramp infrastructure. And what does that look like? Bank accounts that let you deposit and withdraw crypto, exchange accounts that have suitable withdrawal limits for how much you expect to make at the end of the bull run, and backups. Banks, crypto exchanges, they change their tune. You don't want to have to be doing unnecessary verification at the peak of the bull run on a new exchange account because your other one asked you for a KYC questionnaire, which you can't complete. Okay. So let's look at some places with 0% tax on crypto. This isn't an exhaustive list. I'm just highlighting some popular choices. And please note that this is a list for individuals who are investing in crypto. A lot of these countries are 0% tax on crypto for individuals who are investing only versus, say, companies or individuals who are trading. And again, remember that different countries have different definitions of what constitutes investing. And remember what I said before, just because you keep the money in crypto doesn't constitute investing. If you're swapping in and out of positions, swapping coins, that's considered trading. Okay, and there's a little asterisk next to some of the countries that are good for business setups too. Okay, so Dubai is a great option because there's 0% capital gains taxes on all assets, including crypto. Cyprus only taxes physical property, so crypto is tax exempt. Now, this also makes it a good option for tax residency, but I don't have a huge amount of faith in Cyprus in terms of their banking infrastructure, so I'd want to have other personal banking in place. The Cayman Islands, classic tax haven, there's no taxes, so taxes on crypto are also zero. Portugal. Okay, so Portugal considers crypto a currency versus an asset, and so there's no taxes on the increase of the value of the currency. It's very similar in El Salvador. They made Bitcoin legal tender, and so similarly to Portugal, there's no taxes on the increased value of the currency. Malta. Malta has no tax on crypto. It's also a great place in Europe to set up for business, as you can get down to an effective 5% corporate tax rate. Panama. Panama is considered a tax haven, but there are still some taxes there. However, there's no tax on crypto. Germany. Now, this might be a surprising one, but they don't tax you on your crypto if you've held it for more than a year. However, Germany has very high personal and business taxes, and the tax authorities are very aggressive in coming after people. So I don't generally recommend it for broader business and personal tax residency. But if you live in Germany, you work a 9 to 5 and invest in crypto on the side, you're in a good position as long as you're keeping your crypto longer than a year. Okay, here's some more countries. All of these countries also don't tax crypto and could be good options to look into. But just remember, this is a list for individuals who are investing in crypto. Okay, let's look at the best bank accounts and exchanges for crypto. So it depends. It depends on your country and how much you're on and offboarding. Each country is different. There are different banks that are friendly to crypto or support crypto payments. You'll need to do your own research depending on the country, but there's lots of articles online about this. Something to note is that you might have trouble with your bank trying to add money to an exchange via a debit card versus, say, doing a manual transfer. A manual bank transfer tends to have more success. But be aware that as the size of the transfers increase, as you go from doing 1K to 10K to 100K to a mil, you're going to have more scrutiny from the bank, from the exchanges on these transactions. That's why you need to consider how much you're potentially offboarding at the end of the bull run, not necessarily what you're putting in now. And it's also best to have multiple so that you have backups. Exchanges go bust, banks change their tune with respect to crypto. So it's always best to have backups. So as I say, you're not waiting for that pro withdrawal limit verification at the peak of the bull run. Now, more established exchanges are considered safer and more reliable. Kraken, Coinbase, Binance, etc. But FTX was seen as one of the most reliable exchanges out there, and it went bust. So